time for our best PC builds in July 2025, and guess what? We've got Amazon Prime Day, we've got all the other sales to save you tons and tons of money on your 1440p or 4K gaming PC build. In fact, we're going to start with an $800 1440p gaming PC build that anybody should build at that price point. We're going to jump up to a $1,200 1440p destroyer, and then we're going to jump up again to an $1,800 gaming PC with an X3D CPU and high-end GPU. But we're not stopping there. We're going to do our very first RTX 5090 build list this year for about $4,500 to give you the fastest gaming PC on the planet. If you get value out of this video, please give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel, and subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by VIP SSD Key. Say goodbye to crazy expensive Windows licenses and that terrible Activate Windows watermark. Right now, use the links in the video description, head over to VIP SSD Key and get a Windows 10 or 11 OEM license for a great price. Pick your product license, then use the PC Builder discount code PC25 for an additional 30% off. Go to the activation settings on your PC, put in the code, and boom! Windows is fully licensed for a crazy low price. And they have Microsoft Office licenses too. Use the links in the video description. All right, let's jump into that $800 PC build for 1440p gaming. And the performance on this one is really gonna shock you for $800. In fact, get this, I am not even using for this list any of the Prime Day deals right now, any of the Newegg combo deals that are out there right now. So this is actually your worst case scenario, $804, and you're still gonna be surprised at the performance. But if you are able to take advantage of some of those Prime Day deals, 2 thumbs up. You should be able to do this a little bit cheaper, at least a little bit, if not a lot cheaper. For the GPU, we went with the RX 9060 XT 16GB. Why did we go here? It is the best price to performance right now in terms of raw FPS out there, and you get FSR4 on the upscaling, which is 2 thumbs up. Big advancement over FSR3. In addition to that, you get 16 gigabytes of VRAM. You're never gonna have to turn down settings on a game because you're VRAM limited. I know that's crazy out there, right? So $369 is the current lowest cost model in the United States. This is the ASRock Challenger. If you want one of these Sapphire models, it's like $10, $15 more. It's possible we might see some discounts during Amazon Prime Day and others. It's also possible that the lowest cost models might sell out, so I'd probably buy this sooner rather than later. Other lower cost options include the ARC B570 for $259 for the 10 gigabyte version. You can also look at the ARC B580 for $289. That's either the limited edition one right here on Amazon, or you can pick up the Onyx one on Newegg as well. The limitations on these cards: more CPU overhead. You do not want to run them at 1080p. You want to make sure you're running them at 1440p at all titles here. And on the 10 gig card, you may have to turn a couple of titles down in terms of the textures in order to fit in that 10 gigabyte VRAM. We've also got the RTX 5060 Ti, but it is quite a bit more expensive. The cheapest one right now I can find is $449. Is it possible we'll see some sales on this? Maybe down to its MSRP of $429, but it's really hard to say. And really the only difference, as we'll see in just a moment, is you get DLSS 4. So how much FPS can you expect to get for $800 US? Well, this is the TechSpot Radeon RX 9060 XT 16GB review. So it's got all the cards that we just talked about, except for the ARC B570. It's only a little bit slower than the ARC B580 out there. The main difference is the VRAM difference. Obviously, the 9060 XT kind of dominates in terms of price to performance. Is as fast as the 5060 Ti 16GB. Possibly even faster. Recently, Hardware Unboxed went back and retested the 9070 XT versus the 5070 Ti because AMD had done massive driver updates, and they found that the 9070 XT is now vaulted ahead of the 5070 Ti. Possible that's also the case with the 9060 XT. We haven't seen any testing just yet. The ARC B580 is not a bad option. With upscaling, you would pretty easily hit 60 FPS at 1440p across essentially all titles here. So any of these is a good option. The 9060 XT to me is just screams best price to performance. Jumping through the rest of the platform here, we just need a CPU platform that's not going to bottleneck our nice big GPU out there, and that's either the i5 12400 or the Ryzen 5600 or one of its variants out there. Now, right now it's 136. However, Amazon Prime Day, this CPU almost reliably hits 110 or 120. I'm fingers crossed on that one here. And you can get either the 5600, 5600X, 5600T, or 5600XT. They are essentially all the same CPU in terms of their performance. The nice thing about all of these is it comes with an included stock cooler that we are going to use because it's perfectly adequate. And that's the Wraith Stealth Cooler out there, so 2 thumbs up. For the motherboard, I went with the ASRock B550M Pro 4 for $80. Amazon Prime Day always brings big discounts along with fantastic sale over at Newegg on AM4 motherboards. We want a B550 motherboard because we want PCIe Gen 4 on this. 2 thumbs up. It's got improved audio on it. It's got a ton of rear panel USB connections and 2 M.2s along with a reinforced GPU slot. What else do you want for 80 bucks? For the RAM, we want DDR4 3200 CL16, except no substitutes out there. 3600 CL18 is essentially the same speed. That will be fine as well. Has come up a little bit in price, DDR4 has, but at $48, it's still insanely good for 32 gigabytes total. I went with this Alloy kit. It's got no RGB on it, but if you want, you can spend 10 bucks more on RGB. For the drive, we're just looking for a cheap NVMe SSD that is a good budget performer. That is the Silicon Power UD90. I love this drive at $51 right now. It's good to see NVMe SSD storage dropping so low. I wouldn't worry about overspending on your SSD for a budget PC like this. This is a good performer for everyday use. For the PC case, Okonos has a number of really good value PC cases that are not in PC Part Picker, by the way, yet. This is one. This is the Cypress 3 ARGB. It comes with 3 included ARGB fans. It's micro ATX, which is going to look great with our micro ATX motherboard in there. It looks great. It's got great airflow to it. It has USB-C and 2 USB Type A output ports. I mean, look at that thing. What else do you want for $64? For the power supply, the PSU market on the lower end is a little bit more challenged right now. I'm hoping to see a couple of discounts come through for Amazon Prime Day, but one of our consistent C-tier rated performers on the SPL PSU tier list is the Apivia Prestige 600 watt unit. This is really all we need for this build. Don't need a ton because we've got essentially a lower power CPU and a low power GPU. I mean, can't believe the 96 XT uses so little power for the performance it gives. At $52, this is the one to get. So the slight change I made to the SSD to get a lower cost model, we're now under $800 US, $799.30. And again, we haven't taken advantage of any sales out there that you can take advantage of during Amazon Prime Day, during Newegg Fantastic. And you're going to get tons and tons of FPS at ultra details. Remember, you game at high, not at ultra. We benchmark at ultra. You're going to get a lot more FPS at high. So look at that performance. That's what you should be expecting on Amazon Prime Day. All right, moving over to the $1,250 1440p mid-range gaming PC that I know so many of you want to build out there on Amazon Prime Day. This is when you're going to get bigger discounts. And there's some big discounts in this build. There's at least one we'll talk about right off the bat. I finished out $1,256. Now you could do this considerably cheaper. I've decided to ATX size everything. If you want to go micro ATX on the motherboard and the case, and you want to get more of a C-tier rated PSU, you could certainly finish under $1,200 pretty easily with this. And then of course, the GPU choice is also going to make a difference as well. But let's jump through what else the GPU. Now in this build, there's really 2 options here. Either you go with the RX 9070 with 16 gigabytes of VRAM for $599. Again, I went with the ASRock Challenger one. The Sapphire Nitro, when it's in stock, is also selling for $599. There's maybe a couple models just above this as well that you can check out. And I would expect more discounts on this. Now, again, we get FSR 4, we get 16 gigs of VRAM, and we get a very high performance 1440p GPU, possibly even 4K, as we'll see in a moment, because again, we've got 16 gigs of VRAM. The other option out there right now is the RTX 5070 12 gigabyte, and you can pick it up at its MSRP for $549 right now. This is at Best Buy. There is another one, I believe. You can also get the NVIDIA Founders Edition right now over at Best Buy. This is the PNY model. These are good cards. I don't want to say that they're not good cards. 12 gigabytes of VRAM might not last as long as we'd like it to, especially when the new consoles come out in 2026, because game developers are one of the massive optimizations they do obviously is for console, and that does dictate some things out there. But right now, I think 12 gigabytes is still enough for rasterized performance at 1440p. It's not enough for ray tracing. In fact, I would not consider either of these cards really high-end or kind of even good ray tracing options out there. I would go with something higher end. So how much FPS can you expect for $1,250? Well, here we are. We've got the RX 9070 review out here. I will say this is before the AMD driver updates that were recently retested with the 9070 XT versus the 5070 Ti, where the 9070 XT then pulls ahead of the 5070 Ti based on those updates out there. So it's entirely possible we're also going to see that with the 9070, just nobody's been able to test it just yet. But even without that, the RX 9070 is a little bit faster than the RTX 5070. Again, 12 gigs versus 16 gigs VRAM out there. Other than that, that's at 1440p. At 4K, it's about 65 average FPS for the RX 9070. So you certainly could consider this a 4K capable card as well, especially when you go from ultra settings that we use to benchmark to high settings that you should be using for gaming. Let's jump into the rest of the build here. I went with the Ryzen 9600X because look at that price. $165. What is going on? People are losing their minds right now. They tried to sell the CPU for $269. It's $105 cheaper right now. That's crazy. Newegg also has, if you're in the US, has CPU SSD combo deals. So you can get like the CPU, like the 7600X for $200, but then you also get a free NVMe SSD with it. It's basically like a $50 value. It makes it like $150 CPU or $140 CPU. Totally crazy deals right now on AM5. And that's where we want to go with the future upgradability to an X3D CPU whenever we want, and great performance right now. This is really hard to pass up. For the cooler, we're just doing something fun here. You could go with any of the cheaper budget tower air coolers for like $18 or $16. I decided to spend like $8 more basically and go with the Thermalright Assassin Digital, because look at this. Not only does it have these nice clean lines, it's perfectly adequate for the 9600X to cool it, but it's got a digital readout on the top, and you can use their software to change this to your GPU temp, your CPU temp. I think that is totally cool for $25. For the motherboard, you got a ton of options here. I decided to make this build an ATX build. So if you want to go micro ATX, you can certainly get things that are cheaper, but I went with the ASRock B850 Pro-A. It's got 4 M.2 NVMe SSDs. Now, one of those is lane sharing out there. So if you use like SATA drives and stuff, it'll disable it or run at slower speed. But that's more NVMe SSDs than you get on any other motherboard at this price point. Not only that, it looks great. It's got a reinforced GPU slot that's PCIe Gen 5, because I hear y'all, that's what you want. I'm going to give it to you. And then look at all those tons and tons of rear USB ports, 6 high-speed ones, 2 Type-Cs, and then 6 USB 2.0 ports for mice, keyboards, and other kinds of devices out there. $140 for great styling as well. 2 thumbs up. For the RAM, I feel like a broken record. DDR5 6000C L30. You all keep sending me these lists with like CL36 and 38 RAM. Don't do it. You don't save any money. I keep seeing them. You're only saving like $10. Get DDR5 6000C L30. And I will say, for these Ryzen 5 CPUs like the 9600X, 7600X, this matters a lot more than the X3D CPUs that don't care about the RAM speed as much. So make sure you get the right stuff, and I love this Team Group kit. For the drive, I just switched it up here with the Team Group T-Force G50. It's just another DRAM-less 1TB NVMe SSD with really good reviews on it. Currently at $56. Sometimes this is the cheapest one. Sometimes the Silicon Power I just showed you is the cheapest. Just grab the cheapest one, but I do like this drive. For the case, the Montech XR is back in stock. Hallelujah. What a phenomenal case this is. Not only do we get the 2 reverse blade fans here, so the ARGB is on this side, not the other side. I'll absolutely love that. So these are actually intake fans. But it's got rubber grommet covers over the cable pass-throughs here on the side. The front panel comes off completely. This is a dream to build in. Great build quality overall. $69 is really, really good for the price. For the PSU, I went with an 850 watt unit, not because you need 850 watts. I'd say 700 watts is probably what we need here, but because it's on sale right now, basically. $89 is a great price for this unit. It's B+ rated on the SPL PSU tier list. Not only that, if you want to do a white version of this, because you can get the white case and you can get other white RAM and all that, you could get the white PSU for also $89, and it comes with white cables. You could do a pink one. Look at that, $89, and you get the pink cables as well. It just gives you a lot of customization options, and it's a great unit. So for $1,260, actually it would be a little bit less, but for some reason PC Part Picker isn't updating some of these prices correctly. For about $1,250, you are going to get an amazing 1440p gaming PC that's going to give you tons and tons, 100 plus FPS across all titles out there. Crazy to think about. At ultra details, think about what you could do at high or some of those easier to run titles like Valorant or CS2. You're really, really going to be crushing it out there. And this is a PC that you're going to get good deals on right now. All right, let's move over to that $1,800 1440p absolute destroyer, or more realistically, a high-end 4K gaming build. Now, here's the thing. You could take the GPUs I'm about to show you and you could stick them on the previous build and you could do this for a lot lower cost. But what if you want to upgrade the CPU? What if you want to upgrade the motherboard? all the other components and go to a really super high-end build, let's jump into what else the GPU. Now, basically, there are realistically two GPU options at this price point. Either we're going to get the RX 9070 XT, which yes, is now down. You can get a white one for $699. You can get a black one for $729. Is much more reasonably priced than it had been, more at $850. Or of course, you can go with the RTX 5070 Ti. Now the 5070 Ti is a little bit stock challenged on the more affordable models. There's basically three that rotate in. There's like the Zotac Solid Core, there's the MSI Gaming Shadow 3X, and then there's a Gigabyte Windforce model, and those kind of just rotate and they would sell out every so often. If they're all sold out, $899 is typically more the price point for this GPU, unfortunately. So get one of these if you can. The good news is that both these GPUs have 16 gigabytes of VRAM, they have really good 1440p performance, and they've got really good upscalers in terms of FSR4 and DLSS4. So how much FPS can you expect at 1440p and 4K with these GPUs? The good news for the 9070 XT is they just got retested by Hardware Unbox, aka TechSpot here, and they found that the 9070 XT now is faster than the 5070 Ti, but let's take a look at where they sit in the context of all the GPUs out there. Basically kind of just below 4080 performance and above the 7900 XT from last generation, so really good performers there. At 1440p. At 4K, you can definitely expect around 75-ish FPS. Remember, these are ultra details. I recommend gaming at high where you can get a lot higher FPS. And obviously, if you're playing competitive titles out there that are much easier to run, you get way more FPS than that. If you want to take a look at the new 9070 XT re-review with the updated drivers, you can see the 9070 XT had a 9% improvement over where it was on day one. Meanwhile, the 5070 Ti improved about 2.5%. So basically, the 9070 XT has, in raw rasterization, overtaken the 5070 Ti, both at 1440p and also at 4K. And I'll leave all this stuff linked down in the video description if you want a deeper dive. Jumping through the rest of the build, we went with the Ryzen 7800 X3D for $341. That is crazy good value. Now, Newegg also did have a combo deal with a 1TB NVMe SSD that's more of a budget one, but that is sold out at the time of filming. Check those links down in the video description in case it comes back in stock. That's why I'm going for this. You could go with the 9800 X3D. Of course you could here. At this GPU level, I'm not sure we're going to see much of a difference in terms of performance once we're already at the 7800 X3D, and I'd rather use that, what is a $130 difference right now, to upgrade my NVMe SSD, upgrade my PC case, my cooler, all kinds of other things instead. So I think this is the best value. Speaking of upgraded stuff, I upgraded the cooler to the id Cooling FX360 Infinity Mirror version. This is a great 360mm all-in-one liquid cooler, pretty good performer as well. Now, we use this in a recent Ryzen 9700X and RTX 5070 Ti live stream build for channel members. You can become a channel member too. Click the join button down there. We have a lot of fun, including like a live stream around Prime Day. This is a great cooler. You don't need 360mm for this CPU. 240 would have been fine. You could also go with a dual tower air cooler instead if you want to save a little bit of money, or you just don't like liquid coolers. We've got a lot of choices for the motherboard. I decided to go with a refreshed, Asus has refreshed a number of their motherboards. This is the refresh of their B650. It's now a B650E, which basically makes it a B850. I don't understand why they didn't call it that, except they already have a B850 Plus. So it's very confusing, except it's $189. Links down in the description. It's a great value, upgraded audio on it. It's got 3 M.2 NVMe SSDs. It's got 4 high-speed USB ports, 4 lower-speed USB 2.0 ports on it, and it's got the refreshed kind of next generation tough styling, which I really like, and I think it's a great value at $189. For the RAM, it's of course DDR5 6000 CL30. Some people are like, hey, Jason, I want to spend a little bit more here, go CL28. You can, it's like another $15, $20, $30. And with these X3D CPUs, you do not see any performance gain. That being said, if you want to dump money in somewhere, that's probably one place I might spend it. Otherwise, I love this kit for just $95. For the drive, I went with a DRAM drive instead now, so this is part of where we're spending that money, upgrading the rest of the build. I went with the T-Force G70 Pro Graphene, so this has a DRAM cache on it. It's a 2TB NVMe, and look at that, $120. That's a great value, and this will probably even go on further sale on Prime Day. For the case, we've got tons and tons of options at $110. Now, I know a lot of you out there love the Corsair 4000D. Now, this is the frame version. This is not the old Corsair 4000D Airflow version. This is the RS frame, which is a much upgraded case. Couple things I like about this. Number one, a lot of the panels just come completely off. It makes installing new fans and other things kind of a breeze to it. And I absolutely love the fact that these front three fans, they are ARGB, but they are not part of the proprietary Corsair IQ system. These use these standard 3-pin 5-volt connectors. You can just basically plug them straight in the header on your motherboard. 2 thumbs up there. Really like that. No longer locked into that proprietary system is awesome. Of course, you can use IQ if you like it. For the PSU, we're going to need something a little higher rated here. I wanted to go A tier rating on the SPL PSU tier list. I went with a Montech Century 2. This is a 1050 watt unit. We need about 900 watts for this build. Probably could get away with 850. I just figured let's go 1000. There's a great sale going on the Montech Century 2. Montech is newer to the PSU market, so they're selling things at a discount. Basically, they're trying to buy name recognition, and this was a really, really well-reviewed unit. It's ATX 3.1, so if you go with a 5070 Ti, it's got the ATX 3.1 connector on the PSU side. 2 thumbs up there. Pretty much everything you need for this build. All told, for $1,760.63, you basically got another $40 spread around anywhere you want, or you could do this a little bit cheaper if you wanted to kind of de-premiumize some of these components out there. You're going to get an amazing 1440p absolute destroyer out there, or high-end 4K gaming build. Go out, grab an amazing OLED 240Hz 1440p like we showed you in our best 1440p gaming monitors recently, or grab a great 4K panel instead and get yourself gaming. All right, let's jump into that monster $4,600 PC build with an RTX 5090. First time we've ever done this. It's time, man. The PC components out there are ready to go. If you want to build the biggest, fastest gaming PC on the planet, basically now until they release the 6090 in 2 years' time. So let's jump into what else? The GPU. You have one choice of GPU, basically. It's the RTX 5090, but where you might find you have some actual choice here is the model that you're going to get. Number one, don't think you're going to get one for $1,999 ever, pretty much, unless you're one of the very few people who gets an NVIDIA Founders Edition that they're just making to pretend it's actually $1,999. The MSRP on this card, I think the true MSRP, closer to $2,500, maybe $2,600 on it. That's probably what it will continue to sell at. Right now, you can pick one up for anywhere between, well, the Gigabyte WindForce model sold out just as I was filming this for $2,652, but about $2,700, $2,800 up to $3,000. That's where most of the models lie. Now, the model that I'm looking at here is the Gigabyte Gaming OC. It's an upgraded model. It has a nice overclock on it. It's got a nice RGB to it. I like it quite a bit. Another one you might look at here is the ASUS TUF Gaming. And again, especially if you're into more of the stylistic stuff with it, $2,900. But if you want like one of the fastest RTX 5090s out there, I really like the Gigabyte Aorus Master. Not only that, but the Aorus Master actually has the LCD screen on top of it. Let's see if they actually have right here, it's got an LCD screen on the side of the card. That is super cool. This card, by the way, has one of the bigger overclocks for RTX 5090s out there. So if you're looking for an ultra high-end one, you can get this one for basically $60 more. Again, I'm going with the Gaming OC. It's easier to get. It's $2,919. How much FPS can you expect? Well, I just pulled the Sapphire Nitro RX 9070 XT review. That way all the new GPUs are on it. You can see where the 5090 lies. And this is by Tech Power Up. So I'll leave it linked down in the video description. Look at that. At 1440p, basically the 5090, even with the 9800 X3D, is going to be somewhat CPU bottlenecked at 1440p. This is really 4K card. Obviously, it's a ridiculous 1440p card, 220 average FPS essentially. It beats the 4090 handily. 5080 LOL never even got to 4090 performance levels. That's why I continue not to recommend that card, especially at $1,400 right now. And of course, at 4K, it's silly. It's silly. It's 150 average FPS. And again, this is at ultra details. If you turn that down to high, you're going to get great frame rates no matter what you throw at it. And of course, if you want highest end ray tracing, this is going to give it to you. For the rest of the build, of course, we're going to go with the Ryzen 9800 X3D for $472. Is it possible that this CPU is going to get some discounts on Prime? Maybe. I would probably pick it up at $472. It's also entirely possible this CPU sells out. The amount of stock in the US at least has been really, really thin, and it has sold out from time to time over the last couple months. I'd just go ahead and pick it up at this price. It's a good price for this CPU. Now, could you figure in the 9950 X3D? I wouldn't do it. You have to deal with the CCD switching issue. I know that they've supposedly fixed that, but unless you're a high-end production user, what are you going to do with those extra cores? They're just going to get parked anyway when you're playing a game. To me, if you're a gamer, this is the CPU you get. For the motherboard, I like the Gigabyte X870E Aorus Pro. I've been really hard on Gigabyte's other offerings for B850 and B650. I really like their B550 motherboards, but they have done a great job with the X870E Aorus Pro here. It's got upgraded ALC 1220 audio on it. It has 4 M.2 NVMe SSDs on it, and it has a ton of rear panel USB connectivity just for days and days there. And these are super high speed ports. The other thing I like about it is it's got really sleek black styling. I like the Aorus logo on it. I like a little bit of the RGB, both on the drive plate and the chipset cover, as well as the VRM cover to it. And it's got a postcode readout there right up top. Not a lot else you can ask from a motherboard. $349 is definitely on the expensive end, but if you're gonna get an ultra premium motherboard, I really do like this one. For the cooler, I went with the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 Pro 360. Now this is the Pro version. They basically came out with, it's like a second edition to it. So they made some adjustments to it. In fact, Arctic did send me one over here. We're gonna use in a future live stream channel member build, so join to become a channel member for that. And this is a great cooler. Great performer. Now there are some other coolers that have recently come out that compete with this if you don't like this one, but for $105, it's really hard to argue with, and it also comes in all white as well. For the RAM, I know a lot of you like the Corsair Vengeance look to it. It's not my particularly favorite kit, but I know a lot of you like it, and we went with DDR5 6000 CL28. I did look at the CL26 stuff, but it is still crazy priced out there. Right now with the promo code, you can get this for like $125, so let's do it. For the drive, I went with Samsung 990 Pro 4TB, even though it's not on sale right now at $299 for the 4TB version. Honestly, that is $75 per terabyte. That is a great price. Unless I'm doing my math wrong, that's an insanely good price for this drive. This is a high-end production drive. It's total overkill if you're just gaming, but let's go mass overkill. That's what this build is all about. Now for the PC case, you can go a lot of different ways here with about $140, $150. I just decided to go with Montech King 95 Pro. This is a case I like quite a bit. I like the curved glass to it. It's a more premium case. It's got nice features to it, including a lot of included ARGB fans, but it's got the rubber grommet hole covers on it. This is probably just one of my top picks overall for most premium case, and $139, it actually doesn't break the bank. For the PSU, I decided I absolutely had to have the ASRock Phantom Gaming 1300 watt unit. Now, you don't need 1300 watts for this build. I figure about 1200 watts. That's using my 1.5 multiplier if you multiply the estimated wattage in PC Part Picker. And the reason I went with the ASRock Phantom Gaming, not only is it A tier rated PSU, it's basically A plus tier. This is a super premium PSU. ASRock did a really good job with it. And the end of the NVIDIA 12 volt high power cable actually has a thermistor in it. If it gets too hot, if it looks like it may start to melt, it will shut down power to the GPU and register an error. Oh my goodness, every single PSU with a 12 volt high power cable on it should have that for these freaking NVIDIA cables that keep melting. And obviously on RTX 5090, we're gonna worry about that. So this is the unit that I would get 1000%. All told, for $4,600, you're gonna get an ultra premium gaming PC. And of course, you could substitute in, you could go with a different PC case. You could spend another $100 and get the Aorus one with the LCD monitor, or the tough one if you like that instead. And of course, you could get a different motherboard, but I like this pairing. I think you're getting a super ultra premium build that's basically gonna be the fastest gaming PC on the planet. You're gonna spend $4,500, $4,600, and you're not going to think about your PC probably for another 5 years. Remember, everything is linked down in the video description, all of those builds in there, as well as some of the best deals that we're finding. We'll keep updating that as Prime Day progresses. And of course, follow us on social media and follow us on YouTube community posts here for all the latest deals. If you got value out of this video, please give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe for more cool PC content, and we'll catch you on the next one.